Imagine working for an entire year. I'm talking getting up early, going to bed late, staying fully focused and grinding every single day and getting paid a complete and utter £0 at the end of all of it. I'm talking absolutely nothing. Now, that is exactly what happened to me, and I don't even have to imagine it. And I'm going to tell you exactly the story now and sort of just everything that happened. Around this. So this is like the start of my journey right here. This was the start of my entrepreneurial journey. It's helped me get to where I am today, which is why I want to mention it and why I want to talk about it. So if you don't know me already, I'm Liam Smith. I've been posting daily videos now for about 70 days or like 73 days, something like that. And obviously I came back because I was documenting before, but I've come back to YouTube now to document again. I've been helping people out and stuff. So yeah, it's been going great. But let's talk about the start of my complete journey then, because I actually did work for like a whole year and made like nothing from it. But it's helped me get to where I am today. So basically, back in like 2023 was when I kind of started the whole business journey. So I'd started weightlifting and stuff, and then I was like, you know what, I want to start improving other things in life as well. So let's start businesses. Um, so if you remember, if you were like around in the sort of the online space in 2023, clothing brands were a massive thing, right? Every single person was starting a clothing brand. So of course, me and my business partner at the time thought, okay, let's start a clothing brand. So I remember we actually came up with the idea in school. It was me and two other of my friends. And we came up with an idea, right? We want to start a clothing brand, and I remember we were literally writing down clothing brand names on tea towels. It was crazy. But we got straight to work. I mean, one of the friends didn't really want to get straight to work. You know, he was helping a little bit, but nothing too crazy. And in the end, he ended up not starting the brand with us. And then after like literally on the night of, so like we came up with it in the school day, and then on that night we got straight to sort of creating things and learning. So that's kind of how passionate we were about actually starting a business and starting to do something. Um, so yeah, we got straight to sort of making the brand. We got, you know, pictures, like templates for clothing. We got the logos, everything like that, and we were just making some designs at first. And then, you know, a day later or so, we started posting on TikTok. This was the first time I've ever like actually. I mean, I used to like do edits, and I used to like post, you know, clips of like games and stuff, and I used to play games and that. But until this point, I'd never actually tried to use TikTok as like sort of my advertising platform, or not even advertising, but just sort of like actually use TikTok seriously. For serious posting. So obviously I knew nothing about, you know, algorithms. I knew nothing about like, you know, everything about video creation, knew nothing about how to go viral, anything like that. So it was kind of just you know, we came up with an idea. We were really passionate about the idea. So we just jumped straight in and was like, you know what, we'll learn it as we go along. And that is exactly, you know, I'm glad I did that, because that's how I recommend anyone to kind of start. Obviously, do your little bit of research first, but don't spend too much time doing research and getting caught in a trap of researching. Get straight to work on something so you can learn as you go along, because you'll learn the most that way. Um, but yeah, I mean, so we started the brand and we got to it straight away. Obviously, we knew nothing about talking to suppliers. We knew nothing about like anything, but obviously we knew, you know, if we're going to source some, you know, products, anything like that, Alibaba is probably a great place to go. And obviously, because we weren't drop shipping, we were doing an actual clothing brand. Alibaba's like basically the first place you'll go, sort of just to get some samples and whatever, to get kind of an idea of what you want. Um, but before we got any samples or anything, we actually were posting like videos of the templates and sort of like the prototypes, if you want. So, you know, I mean, you can go back and check the page if you like. It's Micro Clothing. That's MYKRO. I might link it below as well. But basically, we were posting videos of like the mock-ups for the clothing. This is what everyone was doing at the time as well, by the way. So, you know, if you think back to 2023, like I say, if you were kind of on social media at that time, you'll see everyone was like, you know, starting a brand, posting mock-ups, everything like that. But we were just really dedicated, honestly. again, if you look back at the account as well, you'll notice that the views are really, really low, and that is because the content was just so made for the platform, if you know what I mean. Like, it was so unorganized, everything like that, which didn't know what we were doing. But anyways, we basically started posting the mock-ups, and we're just getting a bit of attention, getting some traction. A few people here and there saying they were going to buy and stuff like that when it released. So we thought, you know what, great idea, let's just release it. I think we had like 1,000 followers at the time. I mean, don't quote me on that because I don't actually know, but there was a certain amount of followers at the time. But as I say, it was like really, really sort of a step into the darkness right here. We were just sort of pushing ourselves to our limits, because this was like a crazy, crazy jump straight into something quite serious. But I mean, I was that bad at content that I actually decided to do the TikTok promote feature. So if you know TikTok, and obviously you got TikTok organic, which is just posting free videos and going viral. Then you've got TikTok ads, but then there's a little bit in the middle, which is TikTok promote, which is basically where you can pay to bring traction to a normal TikTok video. And this is through TikTok, by the way. It's not like some bot platform or anything. It's actual users, but you're just forcing your video to pop up on their feed. Now, this is the biggest waste of money ever, by the way. Like, if you do organic dropshipping, do not pay for TikTok promote, because all it's going to do is basically just forces traffic onto your video, but you're just paying for traffic that you could get yourself by making your videos better. But obviously, at the time, my videos weren't great. I couldn't make good videos. So I ended up literally just posting, and then obviously got kind of sick of the low views. So I tried the TikTok promote feature. All it did really was just get views. There wasn't much engagement because it hasn't naturally hit someone's like FYP. So the whole goal for TikTok with this TikTok promote is basically just getting people to view the video. But 9 times out of 10, well, in my case anyway, it wasn't really hitting the best audience because I was getting no engagement or anything like that. So it was more just a case of getting views on a video and thinking this is successful, but it really wasn't. So yeah, we grew the TikTok account to, I don't know how many followers it's got now. Like I say, you can go check it out. I think it's like 4,000 or something, but we dropped the clothing anyway. We brought the clothing out. We got a bulk order, but obviously we couldn't afford the bulk order because we were like 14 at the time, had no money or anything, 14, 15, no money. So I believe the bulk order was like 2,000 or something like that, like £2,000, something like that. So what we actually did was, our parents are really, really like supportive of the business, by the way, and like my mom and dad and that are still really, really supportive, which I really, really like, am grateful for. But what we actually ended up doing was basically getting so if you know crowdfunder, it's basically where you can, like, if you want to start a business, you can kind of ask people for like donations for the business to start and stuff. So our parents actually ended up like doing that for us. They set a crowdfunder up, and we actually ended up in the local newspaper as well. Well, it was more national actually, to the UK. So if you're from the UK, the Express and Star, we were actually in there with a brand, and all that did was bring a bunch of traffic to the website, but there wasn't actually any conversions from that, unfortunately. But point is, we were like really, really determined to sort of get ourselves out there with it. And like I say, the crowdfunder was really successful. We ended up with enough to buy the bulk order. So we did that. We brought the bulk order. Thanks to obviously everyone who donated, we were able to do that. And then, yeah, we kind of got the bulk order in. I think there was like 25 tracksuits. Yeah, there's about 25 tracksuits, because it was tracksuits we were selling at the time. And yeah, I think it was like 2 weeks shipping or something. Obviously, beforehand, we'd had to do like a bunch of back and forth with the supplier, stuff like that. But then when the bulk order came in, we were kind of just stored it all in my business partner's granddad's house. Like, they were all just, there's still some of the stock's still there actually, because obviously it hasn't all sold, which is kind of part of the story. But yeah, basically all the stock was just stored there, and the only like first few sales we got, which I'm not even going to count as sales because it was literally family members, so they were like purely buying just for the fact that it was sort of our brand, not really to buy the clothing, just to obviously support us. We ran a photo shoot as well. So obviously you'll see that on the account. There's a photo shoot over there. So yeah, we did a lot, to be honest. We did a lot for the brand, and like I say, it was about a year in total, and we'd made like no money from it. But I mean, coming to the end of it, it was like, this brand has made no money, and we kind of analysed everything and realised that the true reason was because the clothing itself was just not like good enough, if you know what I mean. So obviously not like, speaking ourselves down there, but the clothing, it was kind of just like trap star, it was like similar designs, stuff like that, like with the Chanel writing and everything. I think the problem is that lots and lots and lots of like startup brands all go for a similar design like that, like the streetwear, style, and it just doesn't, it doesn't always hit. And for our case, it didn't hit at all. So yeah, we kind of did that, and we've obviously still some tracksuits left. And we were like going on to t-shirts and stuff like that, but it just didn't work out in the end. Um, I hadn't even used Shopify to make the website, so yeah, I kind of knew absolutely nothing about it. But if I analyse it all and I kind of do a little overview now based on the story you've just heard, I'm truly grateful that all of it happened, because if all of that didn't happen, I wouldn't be in the situation I am now. I wouldn't be making consistent money. I wouldn't have like some big social platforms. I wouldn't have some, actual businesses running right now if it wasn't for that like failure, I guess. And the only actual few sales we got like from genuine legit people was at Christmas time, in the Q4. But obviously, yeah, there was only like a few anyway. I think there was like two or three from like actual people. Um, Obviously not like family members or anything. So yeah, it's fair to say that the brand was a fail, but in reality, I'm glad it all happened, because first of all, it gave me some content skills as well. Whilst not amazing, it still gave me some of those skills that I need, and just sort of getting me sort of used to the platforms. But another important thing that I got from it, and it's like the most important factor and the reason I'm making this video, is the fact that I was able to work every single day despite not being paid for it. Now, that's really important, especially for me now in the present, because even now, I'll still have some days where sales can be lower. Even like at my level at the moment, some days are like literally £0. It's not like just because I've made like five figures, it doesn't mean I'm like consistently, hitting crazy days. Some days are still lower, and that is just purely because I've got a lot further to go. I want to hit six figures this year, so there's a lot further for me to go still. Um, but the point is, right, I was used to working, and I mean like properly working as well, like doing the best we can, doing live streams on TikTok, doing like literally so much for the brand. I was used to doing all that. That now it's just sort of first nature. It's just natural for me to just wake up and do the things that need doing without having to like, think, oh, have I had any sales today? No, I've had no sales today, so I'm just gonna be lazy. Nah, I'll just do it anyway because I'm used to it from that brand. Um, that's why it's so important to me, and why, like, I want to actually mention it, because that's built my fundamentals now. That's what allows me now to work hard on what I need to get done. Um, so yeah, I mean that's kind of the story there. The clothing as well. I've like didn't even mention it, but the clothing it was actually fire. Like the design wasn't the best, which was the reason, but the actual quality was amazing. And I've still got all the pieces now and stuff, so I'll probably wear them in some YouTube videos at some point or something. But the pieces themselves were actually amazing, great quality. But either way, the whole experience gave me a lot of factual knowledge and sort of a lot of skills that I need now. And it's kind of just literally like set me up for the now and the future. So I'm very glad it happened, to be honest. But yeah, clothing wise, I maybe consider going back into it in the future. Not really anything in mind at the moment, but I could definitely um do a lot of, like, if I run a clothing brand now, it'd definitely be a lot more successful than the previous, because I know a lot more about it now, and obviously the content skills and stuff like that. Because I've transitioned from the clothing brand into organic dropshipping, and I've stuck with that now for like a year and a half, coming up to 2 years, and I've seen some great success there. So yeah, I mean that's kind of the whole kind of story from there. So I mean, I think the main thing from here as well is just make sure that you stick with what actually works for you. You know, like clothing brand obviously didn't work for me. So rather than just giving up and saying, "Oh, online business doesn't work," I went into a different type of business, which is organic dropshipping, and I've stuck with it. You know, and I've now been rewarded for it. So that's kind of a big thing there. You know, you wanna stick with what works. So because I went from like making £0 with the clothing brand to now making like over £40,000 from like organic dropshipping itself, within similar time scales as well, to be honest. So yeah, stick with what works, and the only way you're going to stick with what works is by getting started and just testing things. You know, if you want to go get started now in a business, don't do it's it's day one or one day. You know, you have to just start, find what works, stick with it, get good at it, and once you master the thing that works, it's going to be impossible to not succeed. So find something that works for you. Plenty of things out there, especially if you're young as well. Just like you've got so much time to just test things. You know, I'm 17 right now, and I'm like really trying to like push every single day to try and get rich. But I still understand that I've still got time, so that if I need to try something out, if I need to test something new out, I have the chance to do that because I've got time on my side. And you watching this as well, no matter how old you are, you still have time on your side to be able to just like literally test something out. If you got an idea, just test it out. You never know what might work. You never know what might stick. And once that thing sticks, just stick to it and keep going at it every single day. But yeah, hopefully this motivated you, and hopefully this sort of gave you, well, a backstory on me as well. But if you liked that and you liked that video, then please consider subscribing for more. I've had quite an sort of an eventful teenage year life so far, to be honest. So yeah, there's a lot of more stories to be told as well. So if you want to check more stories out, then consider subscribing for that as well. But anyways, guys, thank you for watching. That has been, a long video, and I actually love talking about stuff like that because it's my own experience. It's, something that I'm actually passionate about as well. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.